Hello, welcome back. What you're about to hear may not be to your liking. This is not just a superficial reading, but a deep examination and analysis, embellished with visuals. Today, we will examine why this book is so important and what it has changed in our lives. I'll grab my coffee and get started.
You've been lied to. Now let's shatter a childhood dream. You think Jules Verne's masterpiece is a fascinating adventure about dinosaurs and caves. It's not. That's a superficial interpretation taught to school children. In reality, Journey to the Center of the Earth is a terrifying scream disguised as science fiction. It is a psychological blueprint for the most dangerous act a human can perform, voluntarily diving into the subconscious. The key to this book lies in a single Latin acronym found in the first chapter, V.I.T.R.I.O.L, Visita interiora terrae, rectificando inveniis occultum labidem. Visit the interior of the earth and purify yourself to find the hidden stone. Do you understand? The center is not a geographical location. It is a metaphor for the essence of the human soul, the place where your darkest traumas and primal instincts reside. Verne argues that while society's norms distract you with sunlight, comfortably staying on the surface, you cannot find the secret stone, your true self, your genius, your power. To find meaning, you must descend. You must enter the darkness. That is why the Daily Books community exists. We do not read to escape reality. We read to examine it. We are not here for adventure. We are here for transformation. Today, we analyze the psychology of descent. We see Professor Lidenbrock not as a geologist, but as the archetype of the obsessive mind, and Axel not as a nephew, but as the fearful ego clinging to security. We are going to Iceland. We are entering the Snæfellsjökull volcano. And I promise you, when we leave Italy, the way you see your own mind will be irreversibly changed. Welcome to the abyss.
The true horror of this story begins not with a monster, but with a piece of paper. Professor Otto Lidenbrock discovers a cryptogram in an old Icelandic saga. Understand what this moment represents. This is the call to adventure crashing into the mundane world. Professor Lidenbrock is not merely an uncle, he is an archetype. He represents the tyrannical intellect. He is the part of the human psyche that is so obsessed with truth that it disregards biological needs. Watch how he reacts to the code. He stops eating. He locks the doors. He holds his whole household hostage. Verne is showing us a brutal reality. Great discoveries are not made by balanced, well-rested people. They are made by the obsessed. The professor essentially declares a fast, a purification ritual. He says, in effect, we do not eat until we know. This is the intellect asserting dominance over the body. Now, look at the narrator, Axel. Axel is the perfect counterweight. He represents the domestic ego. Axel is comfortable. He lives in a nice house in Hamburg. He's in love with his cousin, Gräuben. He has a future mapped out. Axel represents safety. He represents you. When the code is broken, Axel's first instinct is to burn it. He wants to destroy the knowledge to preserve his peace. This is the refusal of the call. How often have you turned away from a difficult truth just to keep your life simple? Axel begs to stay. He appeals to logic, to safety, to love. But Lidenbrock doesn't care about your happiness. He cares about the abyss. The professor drags Axel out of his warm bourgeois life, forcing him to trade his comfortable bed for the frozen rocks of the north. This is the violent separation required for any true psychological growth. The code reveals a name, Arne Saknussemm, a 15th century alchemist burned for heresy. This detail is crucial. Why an alchemist? Why not a geologist? Because Saknussemm represents forbidden knowledge. He is the shadow ancestor. By following his footsteps, Lidenbrock and Axel are not just exploring a cave, they are committing a spiritual crime against the established science of their time. They are following the heretic. To go deep, you must be willing to be wrong in the eyes of the world. Lidenbrock worships this heretic genius. Axel fears him. This dynamic, the worship of the dangerous past versus the fear of it, defines the entire first act. They pack their bags, the compass, the rope, the lantern, tools of survival for a place where survival is not guaranteed. They travel to Iceland. The landscape shifts from the brick and mortar of Germany to the raw volcanic chaos of the north. V.I.T.R.I.O.L, the volcano with 2 peaks. It stands like a gatekeeper to the underworld. Verne describes the atmosphere here as heavy, melancholy. This is the threshold. In Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, this is where the hero leaves the known world behind. Standing at the foot of the volcano, Axel looks back one last time. He thinks of Gräuben, he thinks of sunlight, but the professor points only down. The shadow of the mountain peak touches the crater at the exact moment of Scartaris, late June. The cosmic clock is ticking, the door is opening, and once they step inside, the logic of the surface world will cease to exist. They are not just walking into a hole, they are walking out of time. The descent begins. And notice the immediate shift in geometry. Life on the surface is horizontal. We move left, right, forward, back. But the journey to the self is vertical. It is a falling. Verne describes the entry into the crater with suffocating detail. As they go down, the light of the sky, the daylight mind, becomes a tiny star and then vanishes completely. They are now in the realm of the shadow. The first thing to break is their orientation. The compass goes mad. North, south, east, west. These concepts belong to the surface. Down here, there is only in. The rocks change from volcanic lava to primitive granite. They are traveling backward through geological time, stripping away the layers of history, just as a psychoanalyst strips away the layers of a patient's persona. Then comes the suffering. Axel runs out of water. This is not just a plot device to add tension. It is a spiritual necessity. In every mythic descent, the hero must undergo purgation. He must be emptied before he can be filled. Axel's thirst drives him to hallucinate. He hears water flowing where there is none. He blames his uncle. He blames the guide, Hans. This is the ego in revolt. When we are put under pressure, our first instinct is to blame the external world. Axel screams, "Let's go back!" But there is no going back. The wall of rock is absolute. Lidenbrock's response is stoic. Keep going. The intellect knows that the only cure for the pain of the journey is to finish it. And then the catastrophe happens, the moment that defines the entire book. Axel takes a wrong turn. He gets separated from the group. Stop and feel the weight of this. He is miles beneath the crust of the earth. He has no light. He has no food. He has no map. This is the dark night of the soul in its most literal form. Verne writes, "I was buried alive with the prospect of dying of hunger and thirst." But psychologically, it is worse than death. It is the total annihilation of identity. In the dark,
There is no Axel. There is no nephew. There is only a consciousness floating in a void. This is the moment every human being fears most, the realization of absolute aloneness. Axel breaks. He doesn't just get scared, he reverts to a primal animal state. He runs blindly through the tunnels. He screams until his voice shreds. He beats his hands against the sharp granite until they bleed. Why is this scene so important? Because you cannot find your true strength until your false strength is destroyed. Axel's civilized manners, his education, his logic, they are useless here. He runs until he physically collapses. He passes out. This is the symbolic death. The old Axel dies on that cold stone floor. The boy who wanted to stay in Hamburg is gone. What wakes up is something else. When he wakes, he lies in total silence, but then a whisper. Axel. It sounds like it is right next to his ear, but it is miles away. The acoustic properties of the granite tunnel act like a whispering gallery, carrying his uncle's voice across the abyss. This is one of the most beautiful metaphors in literature. Even in the deepest isolation, there is a connection if you know how to listen. The voice of the guide, the higher self, Lidenbrock, is always there, but Axel could only hear it after he stopped screaming, after he stopped running. He has to calculate the time delay of the sound to find his way back. He has to use math, intellect, to bridge the emotional gap. He crawls towards the sound. He slides down a steep slope, tumbling, falling, until he crashes into his uncle's arms. The reunification is emotional, almost religious. The Lidenbrock who catches him is not the cold scientist anymore. He is weeping. The shared trauma has humanized the tyrant and emboldened the coward. Axel has survived the test of the labyrinth. He has faced the void and returned. He drinks water, real water this time, and it tastes like nectar. He has been baptized, and just in time, because the tunnel is opening up. The narrow path is ending. They are about to step into the impossible.
The tunnel ends, and what lies beyond is an impossibility that shatters science. They do not find magma. They do not find hell. They find an ocean, the Lidenbrock Sea. Verne describes it not as a dark cavern, but as a world with its own weather, its own clouds, and its own light. But notice the light. It is not the warm, golden light of the sun. It is a cold, electric, melancholic whiteness. It has no shadows. Psychologically, they have stepped out of the personal unconscious, the narrow tunnels, into the collective unconscious. This is the vast, shared ocean of memory that all humans possess. It is ancient, limitless, and indifferent to their existence. On the shore, they find a forest, but not of trees, of giant mushrooms, 40 feet high. Why fungi? Because fungi are the decomposers. They feed on death to create life. This is a landscape of pure cycle, untouched by human morality. They build a raft. This is crucial. To navigate the unconscious, you need a vehicle, a structure to keep you from drowning in the chaos. Lidenbrock, Axel, and Hans set sail on this dark water, and then the monsters appear. Not dragons, nothing so mythical. They see the real ghosts of the Earth's past, an Ichthyosaurus and a Plesiosaurus. Verne writes this battle with terrifying violence. The water boils, the creatures tear each other apart. Why is this scene here? This is the lizard brain in action. Deep inside your modern civilized cortex, these monsters still swim. The drive to kill, to dominate, to survive at all costs. Lidenbrock watches with scientific fascination. He wants to classify them. Axel watches with pure horror. He wants to hide. This is the duality of man, the observer versus the victim. But the true horror is yet to come. As they sail, they find an island, and on this island, they see a forest of tertiary vegetation, and leaning against a giant tree, a figure, a humanoid giant, more than 12 feet tall, with a head the size of a buffalo, herding a flock of mastodons. Verne stops the narrative here. He makes us ask, is it real? Is it a fossil man? Or is it a hallucination brought on by the electric atmosphere? This moment is the concept of deep time slapping Axel in the face. If humans existed millions of years ago down here in the dark, then our history, our empires, our religions, they are nothing, just a blink of an eye. Axel realizes he is not the master of the earth. He is just a speck of dust floating on an infinite timeline. Axel wants to speak to the giant. Lidenbrock stops him. No, he says, we must pass quietly. This is wisdom. You do not engage with the deepest, most primitive archetypes of the psyche. You witness them and you move on. If you try to fight the giant, you will be crushed. They sail away, leaving the mystery unsolved. This is something modern movies hate, but Verne loves: ambiguity. The realization that some parts of the world and your mind are simply not meant to be understood. The mood shifts, the electric light dims, the barometer falls. A storm is coming, but not a normal storm, an underground tempest where the wind has nowhere to escape. It's a pressure cooker. The raft is tossed like a toy. Fireballs, St. Elmo's fire, dance on the metal gear. The compass goes crazy again. This represents psychic inflation. They have gone too deep, seen too much, and now the energy of the unconscious is fighting back. They lose control of the raft. They lose their provisions. They are at the mercy of the chaos. Lidenbrock, the man of logic, is finally powerless. He cannot command the wind. They crash. The raft is destroyed. They are washed up on a dark shore. But where are they? Axel checks the compass, and here is the twist that breaks his spirit. The compass points north. They haven't moved. The storm has just blown them back to where they started. Or so they think. Verne is playing a trick on them. The magnetic poles have reversed in the electric storm. They have moved, but their instruments are lying. This is the final lesson of the deep. You cannot trust your tools. When you are in the depths of a life crisis, your logic, your internal compass will often lie to you. You have to trust your instinct. You have to trust the flow.
They are trapped. The tunnel is blocked. The raft is wrecked. Logically, this is the end. But Lidenbrock realizes the ultimate truth of the underworld. The only way out is through. To return to the light, they must trigger the very thing that could kill them. They must cause an eruption. They pack their remaining gunpowder into the rock. They light the fuse. This moment is pure alchemy. This is the stage known as Rubedo, the reddening, the stage where the spirit is forged in fire. Axel, who started the journey trembling at the thought of a drafty window, is now lighting a fuse to blow up a volcano. The boy is dead. The initiate is born. The explosion triggers the magma. They are lifted, not by water, but by fire. They are rising at incredible speed inside the chimney of the earth. The heat becomes unbearable. The walls are glowing red. This is the crucible. Psychologically, this represents the integration of the shadow. You cannot just visit your dark side. You have to let the energy of that darkness propel you back to the surface. The anger, the fear, the primal drives you found in the deep, they are now the fuel for your ascent. Axel stops fighting the chaos and surrenders to it. He realizes that the volcano is not his enemy, it is his vehicle. They are ejected into the air, and when they land, look at where they are. Vineyards, olive trees, blue skies, the warm sun. They are in Stromboli, Italy. Do not miss the genius of Jules Verne here. They entered through Snaefell's yokel in the freezing north, a place of cold, hard logic and gray skies. They exited through Stromboli in the warm south, a place of passion, wine, and golden light. They have traversed the entire spectrum of human experience, from the cold intellect to the fiery soul. They have connected the two poles of existence. This is what Jung calls individuation. The complete human is not just smart, north, and not just emotional, south. He is both. He has walked the path between them. When they return to Hamburg, they are celebrated. Lidenbrock becomes a legend. But look at Axel. He marries Gräuben. He settles down, but he is different. He has the gaze. He has seen the mastodons. He has seen the abyss. The petty problems of regular society, status, money, gossip, no longer touch him. He has touched the center of the earth. He is no longer a nephew. He is a man who knows what lies beneath the floorboards of reality. He has faced the monsters, and he has survived.
Jules Verne didn't write fiction. He wrote an instruction manual. V.I.T.R.I.O.L. The instruction manual is still waiting for you. You are standing on the edge of your own crater. This could be a career change, a creative project, or a trauma you are too afraid to face. Your local ego is screaming to stay in Hamburg. It wants to stay safe. But the Lidenbrock within you knows the truth. There is no gold on the surface. The gold is in the darkness. At Daily Books, we are not just readers. We are explorers. We go where others are afraid to look. If this journey has changed your perspective, don't let it fade away. Join us. Subscribe to our channel. Be part of the army that questions reality. In the next video, we will open another forbidden door. Will you be there?